A new film put out by the National Council of Churches called A Ministerial Striptease. And it is being shown in all the churches of the National Council of Churches, World Council of Churches, including, listen, a new film is being shown at the World Council of Churches Assembly now being held in Sweden. It portrays a Protestant minister conducting a worship service in which he removes all his clothes. This is on a film, a movie, and it's coming to the Methodist churches, the Presbyterian churches. It's coming to all the churches that belong to the World Council of Churches. That's why I'm against it. The film was commissioned by the council and paid for in part by 5 Protestant denominations. Reportedly, it is scheduled to be distributed to churches in the United States after its premiere in Sweden. The movie revolves around the worship service with conscious and unconscious perceptions by both the minister and his congregation. What it flashed across the screen. The minister's removing of his clothes at the end symbolizes the stripping away of barriers between people, which the film suggests is necessary to a proper understanding of both God and man. The idea of strippers moving into the church may, understandably, be shocking to a good many people. But fundamentally, the idea is not so shocking as it is pathetic. Many Protestant churches in America have been floundering in their attempts to equate man to the universe during this tumbling, chaotic age of technological invocation. The striptease may not be the extreme and bumbling, but it is approaching that point. So it is felt in this film, listen, that nudity helps in stripping away barriers between people. Well, nudity is nothing new in the human race. In the hot belt around the earth's middle, people have been practicing nudity from the beginning, and there is no evidence that the practice has produced spiritual uplift. In that belt, there has been just as much in the way of wars, violence, and so forth. And this writer says the point is that the weakness and the evils in man's nature are not going to be changed by the taking off of clothes. Even ungodly newspapers are condemning it. Stripping a minister to the buff, to the skin, to the raw, therefore is a gimmick, a ludicious, its spiritual purpose. So when a church goes stale, goes dead, they serve beer, wine, and whiskey and other liquors to girls and boys between 18 and 21. This is the Reverend Paul Johnson. Delivers a sermon on drinking. The youth of the churches. That's why I preach against it. So when a church goes stale, goes dead, backslide, no longer believe in the old paths, the old-fashioned way, they have to look to new methods. Which is not God's methods. What's wrong with the Bible? You mean to tell me that God didn't see our need in this day and this hour and didn't provide the instructions in the Bible whereby we could convert and save the world? You mean that God couldn't see this far? That God's methods now, the Bible, no longer work, and we have to have new methods? May I quote from a magazine, a monthly periodical put out by a preacher who at one time used to be Pentecostal, now has gone back into a denomination. the one that I mentioned briefly a moment ago, was on television for many years, preaching and praying for the sick. But in his own magazine this month, he says, in the spring of 1967, after 13 years of nationwide telecasts, the Lord let me see that phase of our television ministry was ending. No more preaching, no more praying for the sick. It's over. So he said, I went off of television and I waited until God told me what to do about a new telecast. Now his magazine talks about a new telecast. I'm reading from his magazine. And he says, and I quote, he said, we are going to be able to bring an in-depth deliverance ministry to the nation. A deliverance ministry that has depth. Now here's the depth. I quote, I know you're going to be blessed by it. That is the new TV program. I'm sure, too, that many of you will be inspired by the new program, its new format, and its new concept. You, my partners, know that I have never been dedicated to any one method. I am dedicated to Jesus. And we have been willing to change methods when we have seen that the old ones, when we see that the old ones, the old methods, were no longer effective. So when the old methods are no longer effective, we've always been able to find a new method. So he says, we must be willing to use new forms and new methods to reach the people. The old methods don't work. Let's use a new method. Here's a picture of his choir singing on the new TV program. I wouldn't have them on my platform. If you don't like what I'm saying, God have mercy on you. If the girls had robes on, it would be too old-fashioned. It'd have to be longer robes. The skirts on all these young girls are high above their knees. Way up to there. Practically miniskirts. You want to see them? There they are. Hollywood. A Hollywood production. Every girl has a skirt on the same length. My God, way up to there. What's this? Is this for Jesus? What does the Bible say about wearing modest apparel? Are you listening? Channel 13 in Los Angeles carries Miracles Today, the Allen Revival telecast. Describing this new TV program says, and I'm quoting him word for word, and nobody dug it out of him. His name is Danny. I got this from our TV and radio man who pays and buys all our time. But the program director at Channel 13 Los Angeles says, he'd recently seen an audition print of the new show, which is a special 1-hour program. It's completely different